finish the book. Today we're going to move on in a chapter and see how far we get, okay? So before we get started, I'm going to ask you guys a question. And the question is, and I want you to think about it first, do you work? Do you work? How much do you make? Are you working for your own benefit, or are you working to contribute at home? Do you pay rent? How old are you if you do pay rent? Things like that, okay? I want you to think about those things right now. Does anybody want to share? Henry? Nice and loud.
So, just want to know, like, do I work? Yeah, I work for caregivers, so I go to different clients' houses and they're basically in like a home health care aid where I just do basically whatever's asked of me. I make about $13 an hour.
That's good money.
Yeah, and I work about 30 hours every 2 weeks. So
Okay.
it's like $30 total. And most of that money is just getting saved right now. But come the summer, we'll be like paying the bills of the house. So,
You will.
yeah.
Is that because you'll be turning 18?
No, that's because my mom has her surgery, so she's only like she can't do anything for 18 weeks.
Okay.
So during that time, I'll be doing all the stuff that she's not able to do, like paying all the bills and that stuff.
Wow. So you'll be the supplemental income of the family. Okay. All right. Anybody else want to share? You what?
I was paying rent.
Okay, so you were paying rent. You're 18, right? 19. So you're living at home. Have you been paying rent since you were 18 or
A little bit after
a little bit after? Okay. Anybody else? No? All right, so today we're going to be moving it forward in a tree grows in Brooklyn, and we're going to see how Francie moves from graduating. By graduating, I mean she graduates 9th grade, right? So they have like a ceremony, and now it's going into the summer of her. No, she graduates 8th grade, so she's going into the summer before high school, and she needs to start working because she needs to supplement the family. Okay. So I thought it would be interesting if we talked a little bit about families and how children in families supplement income. And I did a little bit of research, and I found, and I wrote it up here for you guys, that on June 2nd is actually the World Against Child Labor Day. And then I started thinking, what's that? It's the last day of school? Yeah, it's graduation for us, right? I started thinking of child labor. Now, I've been working since I was 15. I didn't have to pay rent or anything. I moved out when I was 17. But I had to pay for anything else that was mine, cell phone, things of that sort. So I started thinking, well, like, what is child labor? Is child labor Henry, not 18, but he has to help supplement? Me? No, I don't have coverage. Okay. No. So I started thinking, is it being 17 and your parents are making you pay rent at home? I started really thinking, what is child labor? Because today I want you to consider when we read, is what Francie's doing, does that fall under child labor and the laws that exist now today? Fortunately, child labor laws are so much better now than they used to be in America, but not other places. I'm going to show you that today. So I looked up the definition. Child labor, the use of children in industry or business, especially when illegal or inhumane. Especially when illegal or inhumane. And I thought, how can we make this definition more specific? And by specific, I mean, how could we, just get my piece of chalk.
It's a very broad statement.
Right, so why is it broad?
I mean, it really doesn't say anything specifically, like, it's just like industry or business, especially when illegal or inhumane. Like,
Okay.
what does that even mean? It doesn't give you the age range.
Good, okay, so age, question mark, right? And there are child labor laws that'll tell you the ages and everything.
It doesn't tell you the hours that they can work,
Okay,
total hours, or the hours of the day.
hours.
Unspecified once a week or once a week.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, say that again.
Unspecified once a week or once a week.
Okay, good, yeah, illegal or humane, that's inhumane, that really stuck out to me. So what do you consider to be inhumane for child labor? Is he?
They're like forcing them to work, like in sweatshops and stuff.
Okay, forcing them to
We're
work.
not getting paid, they're just being forced into it.
Okay, so no payment.
Yeah.
We're just forcing them to do the labor. Okay, Henry.
Either like unethical treatment or working hazardous conditions.
Oh, good one. Hazardous conditions, unethical treatment. Okay, good. Anything else?
Like, being forced into anything but proper work or like prostitution and stuff.
Yes, there's sex trafficking.
Yeah, that's being forced into sex.
Yeah, absolutely.
Child slavery.
Child slavery. Okay, very good. Now, Frances' situation we're going to read about today, obviously not as extreme, right? I mean, she needs to make money to help support her family, and she does work a lot, and we'll read more about that in a little bit. But I wanted to show you guys, I found something that I thought was pretty interesting. It's not what you see up there, early morning jobs. But in Syria right now, you all know about the Syrian civil war that's occurring, yes? Okay, in Syria right now, many children are working to support their families because of the civil war. Very, very poor. And if you just scroll down, this website's Children at Work, the Future of Syria. So they're completely dedicated to the refugee children in crisis. And we're going to watch a little video, and this is Mustafa. He's 15. His uncle was tortured in Syria, and now his uncle finds it very difficult to work because he cannot stand for more than a few minutes. Mustafa is the family's breadwinner, and he works every day in a shoe store for $7. To us, it would be $7 a day. Okay? So this should work. We're just going to watch a little clip.
عيشتنا كانت كويسة. جينا على زمان شلون نشتغل؟ ما نشتغلناش، بس نشتغل زيات. نقعد نشتغل جامعة صار شلون نعيش؟ أحس بنفسي زين إني بشتغل. بشتغل بجيب مصاري قدام.
just narrate what you saw, Henry?
Abdullah basically, I think he says that video, goes with a wheelbarrow every day and goes and yells out like dry bread. He goes and buys bread from all the people that are selling it in the refugee camp, and he goes and sells it to a guy who feeds the animals with it, and that's basically what makes his income.
Questions, thoughts, concerns?
All I see it as like child labor, so.
I can't hear you, James.
I don't see it as child labor.
Okay, you don't see it as child labor.
I mean, I was about to say, maybe I was going on knocking on doors, asking if I cut grass.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else? Becca?
I think the moment it becomes not okay in the eyes of most people is when it becomes necessary.
Good point. I didn't think of that. Good point. So we're hitting a few different things here. And I mean, I wanted to show you this mostly because today, Francie, as part of her family, her mom kind of gives her this choice, you know, do you want to go, well, she doesn't really have a choice, it's kind of like this indirect choice. Like Francie knows what she needs to do, and mom knows what she needs to do, so she's going to get started working today. And also it hits a different thing, which is, to me, poverty within a family, right? How did you feel watching that? How about if you felt sad, thumb up? You felt a little sad? Nope. Hard work. Sure. Don't know? Well, this website's pretty cool too. It keeps going. So it talks about the widespread problem of how many of these young Syrian children are, you can see them right here, look. They're getting ready for the day. Many might be homeless, or, well, they're in a refugee camp, but without their parents. Due to the war, parents could be fighting. So it says, all work, no play, a common scene with children as young as 7 years old lining up in hopes of finding work in a Zatari refugee camp in Jordan. And it's a bigger issue for boys. It says 97% of them are boys. So really interesting website if you're interested. Hard work, tough conditions. So we talked about what's inhumane, right? So it says it's hard work, the conditions are tough. They're paying the rent, things like that. So if you're interested, you can check out this website, just ask me for it. I just wanted to give you guys a little glimpse into another child working to support the family. Did you have any other questions, thoughts, or concerns? Sure. Anything else? Anything that struck you?
I don't know, I was like, again, probably about the same age. A couple guys started to follow home.
Okay. So you've been working for a long time, okay? So.
$5 an hour.
Like you said, it becomes a problem, but it's necessary. Is that what you said? Or was it
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seems to be that okay, and it becomes a problem to people when it becomes a necessity.
Yeah, actually, like, I was sat here just thinking that, like, I wanted to make sure I didn't hear wrong, but, like, I agree with that 100%. Like, most things are, like, as far as, like, child work, like, working, people have a problem with a kid if they want to go and, like, mow lawns, but if, like, they have to go and mow lawns every day because, you know, they have to pay the bills, that's when it kind of becomes an issue to most people. But if a kid wants to go and make a couple bucks, as long as, like, they aren't endangering themselves doing it,
Yeah.
nobody cares.
Yeah, that was a good point, yeah, absolutely. So what's your goal for your family? Can you stop?
I'm just getting extra now.
Okay. What's your goal, for your family, you think, in the future? Or, even if you're, what do you think, let's you doesn't even have to be your family, but if you see another family, what do you think is the ultimate utopia of children having to work or not having to work? How do you see it? Depends on the age. Okay. Age and what kind of work?
I feel like the ultimate goal is that they don't have to, but they can. Like if they want to go and work so they can buy themselves a new video game, they should be available for them to do so. But it shouldn't be necessary for them to have to.
Izzy?
Basically, the same that she said, like up until they're 18, they shouldn't have to work unless they want to until they get whatever.
Yeah. I remember my mom, she would pay for me to get a haircut, but if I wanted highlights, that was extra and I had to pay for it. So, but I wanted to work. It wasn't like I had to, I wanted to. So as we're reading, I want you to pay attention and think, does Francie have to work? Or let's go back to that, what Becca said, and keep that in mind, okay? So we're gonna start today. I want you to turn your books to, we ended at 42, so we should be on 43 today, in chapter 43. And we're going to do I was gonna have you guys do an illustrated narration, but how about we just do a little bit of verbal narration and grand conversation, since we don't have too much time left, okay? Alright, so, what's up?
Are you gonna have to read the whole?
Yeah, you already have to read the homework. I'll let you know at the end, okay? What's up?
You said chapter 43?
Yeah, we're in 43. Not yet. Oh. Alright, so make sure you're paying attention when I call on you to read, and if I call on you to read, just read your paragraph, and we'll stop every now and then, and I'll have you guys do a verbal narration, and we'll jump into grand conversation, okay? So, any questions before we start? Cool? Okay, let's go. You got the idea now, said the forelady to Francie. You'll make a good stemmer in time. She went away, and Francie was on her own. The first hour of the first day of her first job. Following the forelady's instructions, her left hand picked up a foot length of shiny wire. Simultaneously, her right hand picked up a narrow strip of dark green tissue paper. She touched the end of the strip to a damp sponge, then, using the thumb and the first two fingers of each hand as a rolling machine, she would wound the paper on the wire. She placed the cover wire aside. It was now a stem. At intervals, Mark, the pimply-faced utility boy, distributed the stems to the petlayers, who wired paper rose petals to them. Another girl strung a calyx up under the rose and turned it over to the leafer, who pried a unit, 3 dark glossy leaves on a short stem, from a block of leaves, wired the unit to the stem, and turned the rose over to the finisher, who wound a strip of heavier textured green paper around the calyx and down the stem. The stem, calyx, rose, and leaves were now one and seemed to have grown so. Izzy.
Francie's back hurt and a shooting pain ran through her shoulder. She must have covered 1,000 stems, she figured. Surely it was time for lunch. She turned around to look at the clock and found that she had been working just 1 hour.
Clock watcher, commented a girl derisively. Francie looked up, startled. She said nothing. She got a rhythm to her work and it seemed to come easier. 1, she set aside the covered wire, and a half. She picked up a new wire and strip of paper. 2, she moistened the paper. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The wire was covered. Soon the rhythm became instinctive. She didn't have to count, and it wasn't necessary to concentrate. Her back relaxed and her shoulders stopped aching. Her mind was free, and she started to figure things out. This could be a whole life, she thought, to work 8 hours a day, covering wires to earn money to buy food and to pay for a place to sleep so you can keep living, to come back here to cover more wires. Some people are born and kept living just to come to this. Of course, some of these girls will marry men who have the same kind of life. What will they gain? They'll gain someone to hold conversations with in the few hours at night between work and sleep. But she knew the gain wouldn't last. She had seen too many working couples who, after the children came and the bills piled up, rarely communicated with each other except in bitter snarls. These people are caught, she thought. And why? Because, remembering her grandmother's repeated convictions, they hadn't got enough education. Fright grew in Francie. Maybe it would be so that she'd never get to high school.
Maybe she'd never have more education than she had at that moment. Maybe all her life she'd have to cover